Hey everybody, Matt with Occidental Nomad here again. Like I mentioned in my last video, I wanted to do some short videos on cheap and easy van life meals. So I'm no chef. I can barely cook. I can barely boil water. I usually burn it. So don't take any advice from me. But when you live in a trailer like this, and you're on a limited budget, you learn to find things in the store that are easy to cook, easy to prepare, cheap, and tasty. So for this first quick episode, I'm going to do something I just recently started making. Oh, hand over the camera. It's a Mexican dish called Pazole. I guess that's how it's pronounced. Pazole. I don't know. But basically what it is, it's a soup or a stew based on hominy. And, I had never really used hominy in cooking. My mom never used hominy. I never really paid any attention to it. Turns out it's just corn, but it's field corn. Normally this stuff is fed to animals. It's common, I guess, in Mexican cuisine and other poorer cultures, just because it's cheap. Problem with hominy is it's not field corn it's pretty tough, so there's a process it goes through to make it editable. But the nearest thing I can describe it as is, if anybody likes eating corn nuts, bagged corn nuts, it's kind of like a soft version of corn nuts. It's not like your normal canned corn. It has a totally different texture to it. But it's cheap and it's a good filler for soups and stews. I think that's why in Mexico it's used for pozole. So pozole is just kind of a hearty stew. Either chicken or pork, I think, are most common, with hominy and other ingredients. You can do it either red or green, rojo or verde. I really prefer salsa verde, so I'll show you what I got going here. So basically the ingredients I've been using lately: so a can of hominy. You can use white hominy, yellow hominy, doesn't really matter. They pretty much taste the same as far as I can tell. So can of hominy. I'm going to use Verde's salsa verde. Normally I use their standard salsa verde, the standard green, but this is the roasted salsa verde, so it's got roasted peppers in it, so it adds a little bit of extra flavor to it. And then for fresh ingredients, the other main thing that typically gets used in pozole is poblano peppers. So I'd never really used poblanos before, but they're kind of like halfway between your typical green bell pepper and, I don't know, maybe a jalapeno. They're not particularly hot. And we take the seeds out anyway, so they're kind of like a large roasting pepper. So got poblano pepper, white onions, another major ingredient, and cilantro. I know a lot of people hate cilantro, but I love it. So additionally, I like to add some avocado, just to add a little bit of extra texture and creaminess. So I'll just take that out and just scoop it out in large chunks and put it in there. And then this time, I've made this as rojo with red before. With Verde makes a chipotle, a creamy chipotle sauce that comes in the same jar like that. And it was excellent made with that. But I'm going to combine that roasted salsa verde with just some chipotle sauce. It's like a puree. So for anybody that doesn't know, I just figured this out recently myself. All chipotle is it's basically jalapenos roasted, I think, or processed a particular way. So water, tomato paste, vinegar, carrots, salt, onions. It says chipotle peppers, ancho peppers. But as far as I know, a chipotle pepper is just kind of a modified jalapeno. Tell me if I'm wrong, but we're going to put a little bit of that in there. So, all right, I'm going to get this all chopped up and ready to put in the, actually I'm using a rice cooker, so I'll show you how that works here in just a minute. Alright, I'm back. Got all my veggies chopped up. So we've got the cilantro, white onion, poblano pepper, and avocado in there. In keeping with the the easy thing, I basically just slice everything, and then for soft stuff, I just use scissors and cut it up into kind of like bite-sized chunks. Most of the chunks of onion and pepper and stuff are like the size of, a nickel or a quarter. I tend to like stews more than soups, so I'm going to go lighter on the water in this and make it a little bit thicker. It's part of why I like the avocado. Kind of thickens things up, makes it nice and creamy. So it'll be interesting trying it this time with the chipotle sauce added into it too, and see how it turns out. So, all right, so we got the hominy. That's what it looks like. Kind of looks like, if you soaked corn nuts in water, it's kind of what it would turn into. So I drained the water off of that, so we're going to add that into the pot. Get it all out of there. Okay, good enough. Okay, then we're going to pour the chipotle sauce on. And we're going to pour the Verde sauce on. Okay. And I just realized I'm missing one major ingredient, the chicken. So, also in keeping with the easy, low prep idea. Oh, no, it's not in here. It's down in here. 1 second here, let me get this out. I've just been using this stuff. It takes a lot of time and power to actually cook chicken. If I put raw chicken in there, I'd have to cook this for twice as long or longer. I normally cook this for about a half hour is all it takes for the ingredients to mix. If I used raw chicken, then it would take just too long. And this stuff is actually perfect in soups and stews. I actually prefer it because it tends to just fall apart. And the loss of texture with this canned stuff, where if you were just eating it plain, you don't notice it in a super stew. Walmart has these 4-packs. I think they're like $8 and change for 4 cans. I use 2 cans of chicken in each. So cost-wise, to make this big rice cooker full of this, we're talking about, it's about $10, depending on whether you put the avocado in there, how expensive your ingredients are. Homony's cheap. The peppers and onions and all that stuff are cheap. The chicken is probably the most expensive piece. So, all right, I'm going to add that in there, and then I'm going to add enough water in here to get it to the consistency I like. And the nice thing about the rice cooker is it's just on or off. I don't use a crock pot because crock pots are very low wattage. They're typically 200 to 300 watts, and you're supposed to let them run for, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 hours. It would work perfectly fine here, but with my power setup, to let a 200 watt small crock pot run for 4 hours to cook this stuff is actually going to use more power than if I use this rice cooker. The rice cooker is about, I think it's like 700 or 800 watts. You do have to be a little careful with the rice cooker because these things it's just an on or off switch. It's either heat or not, or keep warm. To turn it off, you literally have to unplug it. It's either on heat or warm. And they're calibrated to cook rice, so it knows by weight when the water has evaporated from the rice, and it turns itself on to heat and stops cooking. When you're cooking other things in these, you kind of got to watch it just a little bit. So it's no problem. I know it takes about a half hour. Get out and stir about every 10 minutes. These are kind of a no stick type thing. And I like these rice cookers because they're dirt cheap. These things are like $25 and they just work good. So I'm going to get this chicken in there and I will show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Minutes. And the Pazole is done. Stuff looks great. I put a little bit more water in there than I intended to, so it's a little more soupy, but that's okay. Let's give it a try. Some of that. Hot. Try that broth out again. Oh yeah, that tastes good. That's a good mixture of the roasted salsa verde and the chipotle is what kind of turns it orange. But the chipotle adds another dimension to it. So, basically, a batch like this, it's pretty much like a gallon of soup. I can get a giant heaping bowl for lunch or dinner, sometimes like almost 2, and then enough to fill. I've got 2 quart and 1/2 quart wide mouth jars that I usually put this stuff in after I'm done cooking it. So for basically $10, you get 1, 2, 3, 5 to 6 meals out of it. So it's pretty cheap, it's fresh, it's tasty. And the nice thing in these canning jars with the wide mouth lids, this is already, with the soles and everything, it's already so acidic. It's not going to go bad on you very quickly. I'll put it in these jars, seal the lids nice and tight, and I'll have meals for, a week plus. Doesn't usually last that long, but you know what I mean. It'll last, especially with it cold out here as it is. It'll last there in those jars for a long time. No need to actually pressure can and seal them. So, all right, yeah, that's my chicken Verde Pazole van lifestyle. So, the only stuff there that's not pre-cooked is basically the vegetables. Nice and easy. On my power bank, half-hour running, it uses about, 20% of my bank. But then I just turn my generator on, and honestly, this little, it's an 1800 watt running. Yeah, 1800 watt running. Super efficient, and this will top my battery bank back off in about 10 minutes. And it gets about, 3 to 4 hours running at half load. So it's nice to have redundant battery or redundant power sources. So as for the soup, you can make this just kind of any way you want. Use any ingredients you want. Try different salsas, different types of peppers, different types of fresh vegetables. I've put beans in it before, which is okay, like pintos or red beans. Somebody recommended I put cabbage in it, and I did that once, and I didn't care for it much. It kind of turned it from the Mexican flavor to your typical cabbage soup. It was just like a zesty, spicy cabbage soup. So just the cabbage kind of overwhelmed it. So, yeah, this will be the first in a series of cheap and easy meals. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and we will see you guys on the next one.